Well, it looks like we have some new gaming devices from a familiar face. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we found out that Genki is doing their 5th Kickstarter. Now I know a lot of you are hesitant when you hear the word Kickstarter, but Genki has had a pretty good track record in the past. So this 5th Kickstarter is for 3 different products, and you can see them here from the Kickstarter page. We have the Shadowcast 2, the Shadowcast 2 Pro, and the Covert Dock 2. Now we'll go through each of these and we'll get to the price of what they are at the end, since they have some bundles and it'll depend on what you get. But first, let's take a look at the Shadowcast 2 Pro. Now this is basically a USB capture device designed to support current gen consoles. Now this is going to have 4K 60 not just for pass-through but also for capturing. And you can see the graph here where they compare it against the Elgato HD 60X, which I actually have. So you can see how it improves on the capture frame rate as well as the resolution. And taking a look at the diagram of the device here, you can see the USB-C for capture going to the PC. You have an HDMI output for pass-through to go to your TV, and then the HDMI input for the game console, as well as a 3.5mm audio monitor and microphone jacks. So if you're going to capture some audio from a microphone, you can plug it directly into the device itself. And they have sort of a comparison graph here between the Shadowcast 2 Pro and some other devices. And for everything you get, it looks like a pretty good price. Now they have that price at the bottom, and that's just the Kickstarter price for just the device itself at $129. But like I said, they do have some bundles where you could save a bit more, and we'll get to those in a minute. And like I mentioned earlier, I actually have the Elgato they show here, and I've had some issues with the PlayStation 5 and capturing from it. And I've not gone through and really tried to troubleshoot what setting I may need to turn off to get that to work, so I'll be interested in seeing if the Shadowcast 2 Pro solves that issue. They also have a breakdown of all the different resolutions, frame rates, and compression that this device supports. I'm not going to read through all of these, but you can see them on the screen here, and they have this graph on the Kickstarter page as well. But definitely something worth looking at if you're thinking about purchasing this. And then next we have the Shadowcast 2. Now I have the first Shadowcast, and it was actually the very first video I ever did something about on YouTube, so you can scroll down through all my videos and check that out. And I apologize for the poor quality because it was my first video. And when that first Shadowcast dropped, I wasn't real impressed with it. It had a lot of latency issues, but they seem to have figured out and fixed most of those. Now the Shadowcast 2 can input at 4K 60 video, but it will capture only at 1080p 60. It also has USB 3.2, which is an upgrade from the USB 2.0 that the first Shadowcast had. And like the first Shadowcast, the Shadowcast 2 has a male HDMI connector on one end and the USB-C on the other. So it's designed to connect to your console or the back of the Switch dock and then run the USB-C cable to your device, be it a laptop or the now supported iPad. Now Genki has their own software called Genki Studio, and that is now available on iOS, and it's supposed to be designed to give you the most out of the device. I remember with the first Shadowcast, I did notice less latency when I used their Genki Studio versus just OBS, but I have no idea if that still holds true now. Now the third device they have is the Covert Dock 2. Now this is a complete dock that's only about the size of like your wall wart or the transformer that you plug into the wall. And I did purchase the first Covert Dock, and that was a must for me when traveling with my Switch. The small size made it much easier to pack. And they also did release the Covert Dock Mini that I didn't really feel the need to upgrade to. Now the Covert dock has a USB-C port that you would connect to your Switch or any of these other devices listed here. And then at the bottom they have the 4K HDMI port that would go to your TV. And then in the center they have a USB-A 3.2 port, basically to be used to power things like controllers or anything that you may have to connect via USB to the Switch. So in a sense, it sort of acts also like a USB hub. Now the Covert dock also increases the power output by 15 watts to 45 watts when compared to the first Covert dock, and 25 watts when you compare it to the Covert dock Mini, which only supplies 20 watts of power. And as an added bonus, the Covert dock 2 will also work with the Steam Deck as a dock. So now we've looked at these three different devices. Let's take a look at the prices they have here. And first, if you want to buy these just individually, you can see here the discounted Kickstarter prices, and they have the Shadowcast 2 at $39 instead of $50, the Covert dock 2 for $49 instead of $60, and the Shadowcast 2 Pro is $129 versus $160. And I think individually these are all great prices for the devices that you're getting, especially when you compare them to comparable devices already out there. Now let's take a look at the different bundles they have. So if you want to get the Shadowcast 2 and the Covert dock 2, that would be just $85. And if you want to get the Covert dock 2 with a Shadowcast 2 Pro, that's $169. And then finally, if you want to get all three devices, that's $199, which is 26% off. Now, I'm not exactly sure if you'd want to get the Shadowcast 2 and the Shadowcast 2 Pro, but maybe you have different use cases for both. Now, there is shipping for each of these depending on where you live, so you'll make sure to check that out, but it wasn't too much. I went ahead and ordered just the Shadowcast 2 Pro, and shipping inside the US was $8. Now, these are set to release in December. And over on the Kickstarter page, they do have some of these cheaper if you get in early. So they have like a limited quantity of, say, the Shadowcast 2 Pro for $10 cheaper at $119. But they only have about 150 of those left at the time that I was recording this video. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are any of these devices something that you're looking at getting? I can definitely vouch for the first Covert dock, so I imagine the second one would be just as good. If you're someone who travels with, say, a Switch or a Steam Deck, it would be nice to be able to use it to maybe connect into a hotel TV. And with it having 4K support, I'll be curious to find out if it'll end up working with the supposed Switch 2 that's coming out next year. Make sure to leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really does help the channel out quite a bit. I want to thank you for watching and be good.